And we may like, certain things are enjoyable to us now. And we may like putting out a certain persona or doing certain things. And it's all cool now. But on that day, that's when the reality is going to set in. And you're going to be like, man, I've made a huge mistake. That's where your whole life is going to flash in front of you and you'll be like, wow, what did I do? The big oops. That's it. That's the reality. And another thing which I was debating whether to talk about or not. But I figured that since we're here today, and wallahi, if one person walks out of here today and says that, I'm going to change myself, or I'm going to change my view on life, or I'm going to think twice about doing certain things, wallahi, this is worth it. I could stand up here for 6, 7, 8 hours, 2 days, wallahi, it's worth it. If one person walks out of here and says, yeah, I'm going to change my life, I'm going to make a difference. Right? I'm going to make a difference in the way I think and how I perceive things. Right? So the issue of women, or girls, right? A taboo issue, people have talked about it, whatever. Right? There's no doubt in our minds. I'm not here to tell you that free mixing or hanging out with girls or girls hanging out with guys, this stuff is haram. We understand this. We're not idiots. We're not fools. We're Muslim youth. We understand these things. We understand the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he said that it is better for you to be stabbed in the head with a spear or a rod than for you to shake the hand of a woman. This is reality. This is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. We understand this. We all accept this. This is not news to us. It's not news to us that the Prophet ﷺ said that when a man and woman are alone, they're actually not alone. That there's a third person there. That shaitan is always with them. We understand this. But at the same time, we understand that women are a fitna for men. For guys, girls are a fitna. Right? I'm speaking from this perspective because I'm a guy. Right? Girls are a fitna for guys. Nobody will deny this. If you deny this, Allah Alam, you have other issues. Right? But nobody's going to deny this. We live in this society. We're affected by this. Where women are marketed to us day in and day out. Right? Every day, there's women walking around wearing whatever they're wearing. And wallahi, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he said that close to the Day of Judgment, you'll see women walking around clothed, but it's as if they're naked. And there's nothing more real than this hadith now. I mean, if you think about it, you see all of these women walking around, whether they're Muslim or not, that's another story. But you see all of them walking around, and they're wearing clothes. They're wearing clothes. Allahu Alam if they're covering anything. Right? And nobody's going to deny this. And nobody's going to deny that this is hard for us. And this is a fitna for us. And we have to deal with this. And this is a real problem. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said that I have not left a fitna as great as women for my ummah. Now it's not something cheesy. It's not something that we need to brush aside. The Prophet ﷺ talked about it. He said, I fear for my ummah women. The lure of the opposite sex. And this is what we're dealing with, especially in this society. Right? And then you have the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he said, if you guarantee me what is between your jaw and what is between your thighs, I guarantee you Jannah. And if you control these desires, I guarantee you Jannah. Subhanallah. We know that Prophet ﷺ said that, Jahannam, hellfire, is surrounded with great ease. You want to get there? No problem. It's really easy. Do nothing. Don't worry about anything. Shut your ears, whatever. But Jannah, the Prophet ﷺ said, Jannah is surrounded with great hardship, with serious problems, and serious fitan. So if the Prophet ﷺ is willing to guarantee us Jannah, right, then this must be a huge fitna, a huge test to be able to control these desires. And then there's incidents where the Prophet ﷺ narrates stories to us about how men fell when it came to women. And I don't know if you've heard the story of Barsisa, the Jewish abid, who worshipped Allah in his temple day in and day out. He worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And he was known in the town. Now this is the guy, he's the sincere guy. He worships Allah. He stays in his temple. He doesn't worry about anything else. Right? And then one day, 3 brothers come to him and say, look, we have to leave town. We have to go. But we have a sister. We want you to take care of her. And he says, Ma'adh Allah, may Allah save me from this. You think I'm going to put myself in that position? He says, no, take her away. I don't have anything to do with this. Go find somebody else. And in the meantime, Shaitan comes to him, whispers in his ear, and says, look, if you don't take care of her, somebody else is. And they might want to take advantage of her. And they could do things to her. You're a sincere person. You're a worshiper of Allah. Just do it. Take care of her. Keep your boundaries. And he says, okay, khalas, I'll do it. But he says, I'm going to stay in my temple. You stay across the street, over there. If you want food, I'm going to put food outside my house. You come get it. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear your voice. I want nothing to do with you. Right? I know you're there. I'm here. Here's the food. Come get it. And this goes on for a while. And then Shaitan comes back to him. And he says, look, she's going to come out of her house every single day, all the way to your side to get food. People are going to see her. What are you doing? You don't care for your sister? And then he thinks about it, and he's like, yeah, that's right. Let me go put the food closer to her house. So he goes, puts the food closer to her house. And then Shaitan comes back and says, look, she still has to open her door, come outside, take it, just put it inside. Just put this food inside. And he thinks about it, and Barsisa is like, that makes sense. I'll put the food inside. He puts the food inside, but he puts it inside and he runs away. He's gone. He don't want, like he said, I don't want to have anything to do with her. I don't want to speak to her. I don't want to see her. Nothing. Right? And then some time goes by, and then the Shaitan comes to him and he says, look, her brothers have been gone for a very long time. She must be really, really lonely. And if you don't take care of her, she could start going out and, finding other men. So you know yourself. At least speak to her. So he goes and he puts the food down and he speaks to her. But he's speaking to her through a door. And he says, they're talking, whatever, but they're screaming over this door. Really, it's difficult. But he's talking to her, and the Shaitan comes back, whispers to him. And he says, look, just open the door. You're not going to do anything. Just open the door, talk to her. Just a couple minutes a day. It's not going to do anything to you. And he says, okay, khalas, I'll do that. And then he goes inside, and he starts talking to her, and time goes by. And slowly they start talking for more and more and more. It's a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. And then a whole day goes by, this guy forgets his salah, everything, he's talking to her. And then as time goes by, they get closer and closer and closer, and then one day comes when they commit zina. And she has a child. And now he's flipping out. He's like, well, what am I going to do now? Shaitan comes back. He says, look, these guys, when they come back, her brothers, they're going to kill you. That we left our sister with you, and you ended up committing zina with her, and then you had a baby? And he says, okay, the only thing you can do is kill this child. Kill it. He thinks about it. He's in trouble. He's flipping out. He's like, fine, I'll kill this child. He takes the baby and kills the baby. Then Shaitan comes back, and he's like, look, you kill the baby, but you think the mother of this child is going to stay quiet as you slaughter her son? And he thinks about it, and he's like, no. So he kills the girl, and he buries him in the room. And then the brothers come back, and they're like, okay, so we're here. Where's our sister? He's like, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. She got sick. This stuff happened to her. She died, and I buried her. She's in that graveyard over there. And, they believe him, trustworthy guy. He's a worshiper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they go. And then they go home, and they go to sleep. And then one of the brothers has a dream. Shaitan comes to this brother in the dream and says, do you know what actually happened? You actually believe this guy? That your sister died while she was sick and all this stuff? He committed zina with your sister. And then he had a child. And he killed this child, and he killed your sister. And the proof for this is the fact that if you go to that grave, there's nothing in there. And if you want to find your sister, go to his house. He wakes up, he tells the other two brothers, he's like, I had this dream, that, this just happened. They're like, you know what? We had the exact same dream. So they go to the grave, they dig it up, there's nothing there. And then they go to Barsisa's house, and they force themselves in, they dig open the room, and boom, right there. There's the girl, there's the child. And they're like, what have you done? Barsisa, what have you done? You were a slave of Allah. And they grab him and they take him to the king. And then Shaitan comes back to Barsisa, but this time in the form of a man. He says, look what you've done. Look the mess you're in. You know who put you in this mess? The Shaitan, me. And I'm the only one who can take you out of this mess. And he's flipping out, he's going crazy. He's like, okay, help me, anything. He's like, all you have to do is make one sajda to me. And that's it, it's done. and he makes sajda to shaitan.